Hey everybody, it's Rob here. The Season 9 test server starts later today in just a few hours. And with all the upcoming nerfs, me and the community, we made a tier list of the top builds to test, the most fun builds to test here for the upcoming Season 9. Big disclaimer, obviously, this is full copium. We have not played yet. This is just for the test server. Expect things to change big time. Even if your favorite build is weak right now, it doesn't mean the build is weak when Season 9 launches. But with that, let's get into it. We already have the updated planners here for all the builds, so I'm going to link those below here. You can filter simply for all the classes here, and it's going to show you basically all the builds that we have been cooking here that you can jump in and test on the PTR, because we have the cheat, the boost vendor available right from the start. So all the stuff is updated. We have the Heraldic Jewels here, we have all the Embers, we have the Cataclysms, and basically all the different stuff with all the different and new items. It's going to be a lot of fun. I also have the sheet here. I'm going to show it to you here. This is just a ranking based on first glance and patch notes. We did quite a lot of math and theory crafting on this, but all the stuff here is gonna change a lot, guys. So you can find the planners and you can find some of the clears here from the live server. Obviously, stuff is changing a lot. And just play whatever you think is fun, and I think this is gonna be the most fun for me. So there's a ton of builds I'm looking forward to test, especially on Barb, Sorc, and Spiritborn. We're only going to be talking about A+ tier in general. I think the power level of the builds comes down. In Season 8, as you can see here, we had 110 for the S tier, and I reduced this to 105, and we might even, with all the nerfs coming, reduce this to pit 100. So only the S tier builds realistically can do pit 100. And we're starting here at the bottom of A tier. This is Evade Spiritborn. This is still going to be very strong. There's some buffs to the key passive. It's not great for pushing, but this might be one of the best speed farmers come Season 9. Then here, also in A tier, like 95 plus, is the Mech Flurry Rogue. There's a new unique coming here for the Flurry Rogue. There's a new helm that is basically giving it attack speed, and it's giving it some damage and some cool stuff here. This can be a very fun build. There's already, I believe, a 93 clear here from the live game. This is already blasting from Mech Flurry here, from Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. You can see like how the playstyle is, and now you're basically spending your life with the new helm, and you're getting a ton of attack speed and a ton of damage. However, guys, the Rogue is not looking that cool to me, this for this patch at least, because the Death Trap has been crazy nerfed, and I don't really think there is that much excitement. It's always a bit sad when these new uniques, you know, are revolving around the helm slots, and you can see here, because it's like competing with so many other slots, and you can see here this guy is like revolving on overpower, and this is also going to get nerfed a bit, so we'll see how that's going to turn out, but the Death Mask is sure a build that we're really looking forward to test. Then there's a Shred Druid, and then we cooked here another Druid. Is the Machine Gun Smelly Druid. This one is using the new Rapid aspect with the poison scaling, and basically the new Rupture mechanics that happens here with the Arcana Siphon Gizmo, where basically takes your dot and then it does extra damage, and basically like Jade Harvester or Rupture on the Barb, it just does all this damage immediately. And big shout out here to one of the community members, Armin. He's been cooking up this Druid here. So we have this new aspect here, the Rapid Bear. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, the new Pulverize aspect didn't make it in, or the new unique didn't make it in. I don't think it's gonna have a good synergy, but here we're basically using Pulverize and Unsung Rubs here to trigger our Lightning Storm, and that is basically doing crit damage that is then transferred into poison damage with the Rapid Beer. So pretty cool build here, and then obviously we harvest more dots here with Gizmo. We'll see how this is gonna turn out, but this is probably one of the best potential Druid builds. We already cooked up, like all the way down here in B tier, we cooked up like an Earth Spike. Like Earth Spike is getting a 5x damage buff, but again, the all the support basic skills are getting a nerf, so this is a potential build here with Earth Spike and Shard of Veranthiel and the Seismic Shift aspect here if you want to try like a basic build. This is also like recommended. It's just don't think it's going to be that strong, so that's not even A tier. But the Machine Gun Smelly Druid here might be A tier. Then we have Lightning Spear. Obviously, it's getting hit by a ton of nerfs. We have Snapshot nerf, OP nerf, and Lightning nerf, and Splintering nerf. I still think that Lightning Spear is still going to be able to do pit 90 and higher because it was just so strong. And then we have Ice Shard Sorcs. Actually, there is already a clear here. Pit 100, I believe, in the current live game. So this is actually looking like pretty fine already. You can see here, this guy is just blasting down Pit 100 with ice shards. And he's hitting for 200 billion, not overpowering. Like, it's just like a normal ice shard build. And he already does Pit 100. So I fully believe, even after the Enlightenment nerf, that this build is still going to be capable of doing, you know, Pit 90. And this is basically enough already for the A tier. So if you wanted to play some ice shards, and also get some pretty cool synergy with the new aspects and the new powers. So try out the Ice Shard Sorc. This is still a very, very strong build overall. And same for Blizzard, same for Chain Lightning. These are still going to be pretty good. But of course, it's not going to be the top Sorc, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Then we have a Blood Bone Spear. This also gets hit hard by the OP nerf. There's also a nerf to the Deathless Visage. However, this did Pit 114 here with the Blood Spear. And I still think this is going to remain a very, very strong, a very, very solid build to test on the PTR. Then we have the Summon Mage. There's a 101 clear by this build. And they are basically getting these new gloves where we're missing an image here. The Hand of Nath that basically going to sacrifice the Golem and your warriors to get even more skeletal mages. And there's a lot of cool synergy. In general, we have a ton of cool buffs here for the minions. You have this Reverin Horn here, this new Horadric Jewel that's basically buffing the minions even more. And then obviously we're playing with the Ring of Mendel and getting quite some juice here from all the multipliers. And this actually is going to be a very strong build. It might even have, and maybe we're coping here, but again, it's all copium. It might even have potential to move into the S tier and do Pit 105. We will see, because like some of these pet builds, we're already using OP, overpower, and that's getting nerfed. So I still think it has great potential, but I'm more thinking it's going to be like top of A tier, basically. Summoner, Mage, Necro, it might scratch the Pit 100. Then here, coming in as one of the top builds, I hope, top of A tier, is the Flay Barb. We actually got quite some significant buffs here, because the new unique is Boots, and it's going to give double damage. I already made a video about this yesterday. It's pretty insane. It has a lot of multipliers, and it has very nice synergy with the Siphon Gizmo. But all these like dot-based builds, like, they might depend on how good the Tyrant, the Bane of the Stricken is, how the ICD is, because, like, you know, Flay has a very fast attack speed. And if we can stack one Tyrant, the Bane of the Stricken stack here, for every Flay instance that we do, it's going to be very strong. I think very good scaling. And if we can't, then it might lag a little bit or perform a little bit under the expectations. But this is still a cool build. I'm very much looking forward to be rocking on the Flay Barb here. This is probably the second build I'm going to test right after Sorcerer, or maybe even the first one. We'll see. And there's also Lunging Strike Barb that you can play, or Bash Barb. However, I don't think these are going to be as good as Flay, because you can just have better scaling with Flay and dots, and the Flay duration actually going over 100%. And then obviously we can also use the Siphon Gizmo again here. We don't need Rupture on the bar, and we can just consume our dots like that. So good potential on Flay Barb. And then one old build here that is still supreme. We have the Earthquake Barb. So Earthquake Pet Barb was the best build of the previous Season 8. We're getting damage divided by 2 on the Paragon board. We're getting a Decimator nerf. We're getting a big ugly Bastard nerf. And we are losing the boss power here. That's giving us a ton of damage to our minions. So this build is going down like about damage divided by 6, damage divided by 7 or something. But this probably still allows it to remain somewhere in the Pit 100 range. Like, my calculation is this is still going to do like 102, 103 on the Pet Earthquake Barb. Despite all these nerfs, it's going down roughly 10, 15 pit tiers. But it's still pretty comfortable for doing a Pit 100, I think. But this is not as interesting to test. One other aspect of the build, and I made a planner for this one because it's like at least a little new, is instead of focusing on Earthquakes, we are focusing on our pets with Ariad's Bearing using the Twisters. So still not like a, you know, like a fully OG Barb build. This is just going back to the Twisters. And we're using the Whirlwind to trigger our pets, and those pets going to be triggering our Twisters. And then instead of Earthquake size, we use Dust Devil size, and instead of the Earthquake aspect, we are now using Fierce Wind and Twister. to basically get our Dust Devils to scale with the size, and then we get 100% size. And like that, we get double the damage from the Twisters, and we're not affected by the Earthquake nerf, because this is just a Twister version. And this is going to deal pretty decent damage. I also calculate this to be able to do around Pit 100 with like perfect gear, obviously, on the PTR. You guys notice, like the power level is pretty low. Like top 8 tier, like still struggling to do Pit 100. Now we're getting into S tier, and obviously this is just a speculation, guys, but I have 3 potential builds here. They're going to be very strong. Probably will start with the middle one here, the Quill, Volley, Spiritborn. So the Spiritborn was the weakest build, or the weakest class of Season 8. However, the nerfs that are happening to all the classes, to overpower, to all that stuff, is affecting Spiritborn the least. And you can see here, this build did a 12-minute 108 clear already, and it only receives very, very minor nerfs. So I'm very sure this is going to be pretty comfortable Pit 100 with the new powers here, with the new spells and stuff from the Heraldic. And the only small nerfs is basically Overpower, and the Moonrise is getting reduced a bit. But there's also some like minor buffs coming to this, so I think the Quill Volley is one of the top builds this season. And then maybe more interesting for the Spiritborn enjoyers, and this is the Thorns Spiritborn. And I was pretty surprised. So we're getting new pants here that are going to be very strong. And there's basically 2 ways to play this. We can play this with Quill Volley and just scale attack speed, basically attack like crazy with this, with Quill Volley, and proc it a bunch of times. Or we are going back to the OG Spiritborn build here with Rock Spitter. And I was very surprised to see there is 103 clear already. Again, the sheet is linked below. 103 clear here from Mr. Do Not Hit Me. Some of the Barb folks here might remember him. He was the GigaChat Barb gamer. And he actually managed to do Pit 103 just with a Thorns build already. And obviously this was using the Sun Rune, basically using Overpower here with Thorns. However, with the pants getting a triple buff to the Thorns and another way to proc the Thorns, I'm pretty sure Do Not Hit Me will have something cool cooking up here with the Thorn Spiritborn. So he did 103 with this build, and that is in fact very, very strong already, and it's only going to get much stronger. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be very comfortable Pit 100. And then, guys, coming in at numero uno, number 1, eating the best. The multiplicative buffs are crazy for the Hydra Sorc. I did some rough estimation here. We get this new aspect here. This is the Serpentine aspect. You put this on a 2-hander, we're getting 5% damage per mana, and we can have about 350 mana, giving us an 18 multiplier on one aspect. And then obviously we're getting this crazy new amulet here, the Ophidian Iris, giving us another like 16 multiplier with the heads. And all in all, this build is going to receive a crazy buff. And if I'm going in-game already, you know, I can like already place my Hydras. And this build, like obviously we have the boss powers right now, so we're losing them, but we're gaining the Heraldic powers, and we're gaining this crazy amulet, and we're gaining this crazy weapon. And you can see like we can like basically summon these Hydras, and watch what happens here. We are in a T4 boss here. And you know, the cool thing is with the Hydras, you can kind of like pre-cast them if you like. So I can just cast 3 Hydras and then just use my skills, and you'll just see how this boss just boom, instantly melts on Torment 4 already. There's already a Pit 100 clear with this build. And yeah, the Hydras, I think they will be eating very good, and you can still like perma-teleport as you just summon these Hydras. You just have to figure out your mana cost, because this new aspect is basically reducing or spending all your mana. But there is some very nice tricks around that. I already have a planner for this. There's a direct and a dot version. Right now, I'm a bit more sold on the direct version. We're actually playing here with Axial Conduit, and we masterwork resource generation and maximum resource. This goes up to like 90% resource generation and resources. So I think there's some pretty cool ways here to generate resources and get some crazy damage out here. We will see how this is going to turn out, but crunching the numbers, guys, this Hydra Sorcerer is already on the live game insane. And it's just getting like 20x damage, you know, if you're considering Enlightenment nerf, you're considering like a lot of the nerfs here. Or like you can also even kill the boss without Enlightenment. So like this build is just insane already. And once we get this new aspect and we can get like a triple masterwork on the Hydra heads. Again, I made a video about this. Like, this already does easy T4 content. And yeah, we'll see how crazy it's gonna go on the PTR. I'm expecting this to be the best build that is not bugged maybe, but we'll see. Otherwise, it looks pretty insane. There might be some other like more builds that are coming. I really hope there's going to be a lot of more builds that are going to be moving to a pit 100 plus viable here for my tier list, because I already had to scale it down, right? This is like already tuned way down from like the pit 110 we have here in the live game. But anyways, guys, this is just my best guess. Obviously, it's a full copium. We haven't tried. Like, we're going to be playing today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to be streaming here starting in a few hours, and we're going to be blasting for like 15 hours or so, and we'll be testing out all the builds. I'm starting with either Barb or Sorc, and then I'll do the other one. So starting Barb, then doing Sorc, or starting Sorc, then doing Barb. Haven't decided yet. Maybe you guys can decide. Let me know in the comments what I should play first. But we'll make sure to test it all, and let me know what you are looking for to test. Again, the sheet is below, the planner is below. Rock on, give some feedback, guys, and hopefully Blizzard is changing some stuff so we can have an amazing Season 9 with this tier list. There's going to be a lot of salty tiers, but it's going to be fine, guys. Things are going to be changing from the PTR to the live game. Let's go, my friends. Take care. I'll see you there. GG. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.